supposed to be an illusion in the film. Okay, so you're familiar with this problem. So let's go through some. Can you see that? Kind of. Okay, well, it's also one line, so my apologies, it's not clear. Okay, and I'll say each one. So let's go through some examples of what you might do. Some bases of group difference that appear in the film, and whether or not they're revealed to be illusions or not. Okay, so a big obvious one is prisoner, prison guard, right? Prisoner, prison guard. This is a big difference. The prisoners are all, servants of guards. The prison guards have total power over them. We have a Milgram obedience type scenario. It's Zimbardo prison experiment type scenario. So is this group difference maintained, or is it broken down over the course of the film? It's often broken down in many situations. So what are examples in the film of where the prisoner, prison guard difference of hierarchy and status is broken down? Yes. There's actually a very sweet scene where Marichal has been put in solitary confinement. He's cracking up. He's been there for weeks. But what happens is the prison guard is trying, even though he's already been mean to him and tried to escape and like elbowed him in the gut or something, the prison guard feels sorry for him and is offering him cigarettes and a harmonica. And it's actually very sweet when Marichal starts playing the harmonica. So, or if you're like me, you're touched by this. So the prison guards are actually surprisingly kind to the prisoners at various points, or at least that prison guard is. So in this way, you could argue in an essay that his group difference between prisoner and prison guard is broken down. So what's another basis of difference? This is a big one. Jew-Gentile. This is 19-0. So there's a great deal of anti-Semitism. And the presumption would be, if you went into this film in the 1930s, remember the 1930s in Germany has the rise of the Third Reich happening. There's been widespread anti-Semitism in Europe for hundreds of years. And this is still a major widespread belief that the Jews are different people and the Gentiles have animosity towards Jews. So this is a big difference. And this is hard for us to maybe capture because anti-Semitism, we hope anyway, in the United States is not nearly as strong as it was in this period. So one thing you might not have noticed is that Rosenthal is a Jewish guy. And Rosenthal is Jewish. And the difference between Rosenthal and everybody else is he's supposed to conform to various stereotypes of being Jewish that were present at the time, that he would be rich and greedy. Is he rich and greedy? No, he is rich. His family is rich. They keep sending him all these nice tins of like smoked salmon and stuff like that. Very good stuff that we would all want to eat like that. But then he shares these things. He's incredibly generous. He's easily the most generous person, really, of all the people there. So he is violating that Jew-Gentile group difference that supposedly Jews are greedy, but Rosenthal defies this stereotype. But also, there's this presumption that there would be anti-Semitism in the group, that the Gentiles would have animosity towards the Jews, or towards Rosenthal specifically, and that Rosenthal might himself have difficulty connecting with the Gentiles. Is this the case? No. So repeatedly throughout the film, Rosenthal is treated like a perfect equal in the prison group. And in fact, to our eyes, it might be hard to remember that there is anti-Semitism in the 19-teens. And then likewise, does Rosenthal embrace his Gentile comrades? He does. And again, there's this very sweet scene where everybody's like, all right, we're about to break out of the prison. This is going to be great. We've been working on this forever. I just wish Marichal could come with us. But he's been stuck in solitary confinement for weeks. And they're all like, man, that sucks. Marichal should come with us. And then what happens? Marichal, he arrives, he's emaciated and thin and he's hungry. And they immediately are like, oh, you can have Rosenthal's food. He's always giving us food, And they look over and Rosenthal is preparing some food for him and he's crying because he's so happy that Marichal is back. And so this should say actually Marichal, not Bouldieu. Although Bouldieu and Rosenthal seem like they get along fine, but especially Marichal and Rosenthal. Why do they get along so well, Marichal and Rosenthal? Right, well, they escape together, right? They escape together, and they have a very common experience where they have to do a group task together, where they have to escape and repeatedly cooperate, and that brings them together. Okay, so another basis of group difference, the big one that I was talking about at the beginning when I asked you what was different about people's names, is the difference between nobility and peasants. And I think what I was trying to tell you was that von Rothenstein and de Balduc have a gentleman's debate about this. And this was kind of in some ways what Renoir most wanted to advertise in the film. I think he wanted this debate to be sort of the heart of this film, to be the biggest illusion that's shown to be, or the biggest basis of group difference that's shown to be an illusion. So, so von Rothenstein believes in the nobility system. It's still around in Germany, and he still endorses it privately. And he still thinks that the nobility are better than the peasants, right? When he shoots down de Balduc and Marichal at the beginning, what does he say? He says, find out if they're officers. If they're officers, invite them to lunch. And what he really means is find out if they're, landed aristocracy captains like de Balduc, in which case I want to have lunch with them. And he has these conversations with Balduc where he's like, oh, are you related to Joe Balduc, from Paris? And he's like, oh yes, that's my second and third cousin. And it's like, oh, well, that person was of high fiber and good reading. So they always have these conversations. And then when von Rothenstein leads an investigation of their shared quarters, their cell, he knows these people have been always trying to escape, so he knows he needs to go in and check on them occasionally. What does he do when they get to Balduc's cell? Exactly. He says you don't need to search his stuff. He's a Balduc. And Balduc's like, no, I want you to search my stuff. I'm no different from them. And he's like, it is not necessary. And Balduc's like, well, we'll see about that moment. So Balduc disagrees with von Rothenstein's perspective. Von Rothenstein is like, hey, I want you to drink cognac with me. We're better than these other people. The real basis of group difference here is that the nobility, us, are better than the peasants, the people that fight and die and follow our orders. We're the good ones, and that's the real basis of group difference. This French-German thing, I easily transcend that and get along with you. But de Balduc disagrees. He's from post-revolutionary France, and he wants this to be a story of him being a Frenchman. He wants to say, no, this French-German difference is the big difference here, and the nobility are no different from the peasants. And so he says, I want you to search my stuff because I'm no different from these other guys, these plebeians, these peasants that you look down upon, so these commoners. And then at the end, they're having this debate. They have the debate. They actually go up into the castle. And remember, this is weird, right? It's like a prison that's in a castle. Could you telegraph that this guy is nobility anymore, right? He's nobility. He's like a captain. He's von Rothenstein. He lives in a freaking castle, even though it's war. So he's, that's what nobles did in Europe. They lived in castles. And he's tending this geranium, right? And telling these stories about the death of the nobility system. And the geranium could be meant to symbolize the last kind of vestiges of nobility and noble birth. And he's like, yeah, it's the only thing that's like still alive and still flowering in this terrible place. And they have this debate, right? Where von Rothenstein's like, hey, why did you want to search your stuff? I know you're better than these other people. And de Balduc's like, I don't know. I don't think so. We'll see. And then Marichal and Rosenthal go to escape. And what does de Balduc do when Marichal and Rosenthal go to escape? He sets up a distraction. He gets a really cool flute, and he starts playing this really cool flute on the rocks in order to distract the guards so that Marichal and Rosenthal can get away. So what does he do? He sacrifices himself for commoners. And von Rothenstein can't understand this. He holds him while dying and says, why are you doing this? Why is it that you've sacrificed yourself for a Marichal, for a Rosenthal? I can't imagine. And de Balduc, in a way, sort of wins this gentleman's debate because he lays it all on the line and he says, no, look, I gave myself up. I gave my life to be right in this debate. I gave my life to prove that I'm equal to my men, which is, again, kind of sweet. So, but at the same time, I think if I was writing an essay, you could even go a step beyond that and say, actually, von Rothenstein and de Balduc are still propping up their belief that there's a difference between nobility and peasants. Because even in the scene where de Balduc is trying to prove that he's the same as Marichal and Rosenthal. And how is he trying to prove? He's trying to prove by sacrificing himself so Marichal and Rosenthal can escape. He's using his leverage with von Rothenstein to create a distraction so that the other two guys who he thinks are equal to them can escape. And two people is greater than one, so you got to do it, right? It's times of war. But even at that time, there's signs of noblesse oblige going on, right? Noblesse oblige is how the nobles, the wealthy, are supposed to take on obligations and gallantly and with great chivalry make sacrifices and things like that. And if you look at the scene maybe a little bit closer, you maybe still see that these guys both still believe in the nobility system. Von Rothenstein's like, what's this guy doing running around? Don't shoot him. I will be the one that shoots him. He's my friend. friend, but I'm obligated to do it because I'm a noble, and as a noble, I'm always looking for opportunities to show you how cool I am. And then Boldu is like, I'll be the one that sacrifices myself chivalrously and gallantly because as, well, he wouldn't say it this way, but as a noble, I want to be the one that's obligated to sacrifice myself because as a noble, I'm always looking for cool stuff like that to do. Okay, so, but I think mostly the story of nobility-peasant difference is one that is torn down in the course of the film, and Boldu disagrees and sacrifices himself for mere peasants. Okay, another basis of group difference is the difference between French and Germans. Does this film maintain that group difference, or does it also break it down? Bless you. It breaks it down. Okay, so Rothenstein is the leading guy who breaks this down, right? Well, Rothenstein has always seen some similarity to Boldu, and a greater similarity to Boldu than he sees to his own men, the people who work for him. So he's always trying to get Boldu to hang out with him and drink cognac because, you know, they're really cool and they like cognac. So also another basis of national difference, the Swiss-France border is obscured at the end in this unmarked field. It's covered in snow, and they run across it to freedom. But you know, you can't even see the line. The line is an illusion. These national boundaries are illusions, and never is it laid out more like obviously and visually than in that final scene. Okay, now I can see you all are riveted by all this, so I'm glad that there's a question. Okay, good. Yes. Mm-hmm. Right, what border was it? Yes, it was the German-Swiss border because they're escaping from Germany into Switzerland. Thank you. Yes, so ignore that as Swiss-French, it should say Swiss-German. Very good. Okay, another basis of group difference that is broken down over the course of the film is the rich-poor difference. You would expect the rich to be somehow different people and maybe identify against the poor. They have a lot in common. They have dissimilarities from the poor. But nonetheless, this basis of group difference is repeatedly torn down across the course of the film. De Baldu is sacrificing himself for Maréchal, who is a poor guy. Rosenthal shares his wealth with the other prisoners. So the difference between rich and poor is readily broken down. And you can easily use these bases of overarching identities to analyze that, right? So what makes Rosenthal no longer better than and different from his poorer comrades when they find themselves in prison? Well, perhaps it has to do with the fact that being in prison, there's this very salient basis of group similarity at work, right? They're all stuck in a friggin' prison. And then all of a sudden they're all French citizens, they're all French soldiers, and that's a very salient identity. Also, there's a very salient outgroup. They're not the Germans, they're not these jerks that have their prison guards. And then also they're locked into a common task. They're trying to dig their way out of the prison camp. In a way, social identity theory is designed for understanding this film. So remember that another thing you're supposed to do as you analyze this film is talk about the transcending of group differences. So or well, we've been talking about that the whole time, but you need to use a concept from class, maybe from one of the lectures or from the Birkenstedt social identity theory reading. So you want to give a way in which a group difference is transcended or not, and then you want to use one of the ways in which overarching identities can be activated from the social identity theory lecture to interpret that. Okay, I'm sorry, that didn't make sense. Okay, right. Oh, okay, sorry. So what I'm saying here is that, remember, you have to use a concept from class, either from a lecture or from a reading, and one way to do that would work very well, tip, is to take one of the bases of overarching identities that I just discussed in the social identity theory lecture and apply that to explain how group differences overcome. Okay, so one way you got to use a concept from class, that would be a really good way to do it. So, what will be some examples of that? Remember that a way in which overarching identities can be overcome is by having a common enemy, right? So you could use that to explain how Boldu and Maréchal come to bond with one another, even though he's noble and a higher-ranking guy than Maréchal. Well, they have a desire to escape and defeat the Germans. So that common enemy brings them together and helps them transcend the nobility-peasant difference. Also, another basis, or another way in which group differences are overcome is by seeing some significant similarity. And Rothenstein's affection for Boldu can be seen in these terms. Von Rothenstein says, hey, I'm a von Rothenstein, you're a de Baldu. We got so much in common. This allows us to overcome the French-German difference and fall in love with one another. Good, you're still paying attention. Okay, that's good. Will you help me prune my geranium? By having and working towards some common goals. This is a third way in which people can overcome bases of group difference. And an example of this would be when Rosenthal and Maréchal escape, right? That transcends the Jew-Gentile difference because they have to come together and find a way to escape. Or all the differences amongst the people in the original prisoner of war camp are overcome as they go to build a tunnel out of the prisoner of war camp. And actually, there's a very cute moment where they try to go tell the Americans, right? The American guy comes in, his suitcase busts open, and Maréchal rushes over and he's like telling him, there is, there's a tunnel in like Barracks 7. You need to know about this. We almost dug our way out. I need to tell you. And he's like, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't speak French. I don't know what you're talking about. This is a very cute little irony, right? This is a group similarity. They're allies fighting the Germans, but they can't even communicate. Sort of the opposite. Okay. So, you want to identify three bases of group difference in the film. You want to explain how each one is or is not transcended in the film. So, for example, rich-poor group difference is transcended when Rosenthal shares his food with poor prisoners, that kind of thing. And you want to use at least one concept in the social identity theory lecture or the Stetzenberg reading. One other example, man, this has been like the least popular lecture in like the history of this class. Okay, so I'll give you one more example of this. Here's an example of how you could use a concept from the lecture or the Stetzenberg reading to explain how an overarching identity is activated that transcends a group difference. You could say that the difference between Jew and Gentile is transcended when Rosenthal and Maréchal become friends following their escape. This is an example of how working towards a common goal, in this case escape from the prison, can help people transcend group differences that would otherwise generate animosity. Is this clear? Yeah. Okay. You only need to do this once in your paper, though. Wouldn't it be cool to do that multiple times? I think that'd be more impressive. Are there questions about this? All right. I'll see you guys next Tuesday then.